Hi everyone, this is your host Himanshu Sehgal. I am co-founder and CEO of Pharma Shots. Pharma Shots is an official partner with Reuters Pharma 2025, which is happening in Barcelona in the second week of April. With me, we have Konrad. So Konrad is going to conduct a workshop in the during the event on the first day, and we are here to have an exclusive preview with Conrad to know what is going to happen at the workshop, a little bit of a sneak peek into the workshop. Thank you, Conrad, for your time.
Thank you.
So for our audience, can you give us a very brief introduction about you, about bit of your background?
Absolutely, and it's lovely to be here. Thank you so much for having me. So, my background is many years in life sciences, Novartis and Pfizer, as well as in the National Health Service in England, in the UK. So I was national director there for the NHS Innovation Accelerator, and also now I'm running my own advisory company, and I'm helping with this workshop at Pharma Europe, which we're very, very happy to be at. And what a lot of people don't know, and I throw this in, I also used to run a fashion brand back in Germany many moons ago. That's the reaction I get. It's either smiling, laughing, or surprise. But yeah, so that's my bit of my background.
Okay. So you'll be probably happy to know that even I am an ex-Novartis,
Oh, there you go.
ex-Novartis. Yeah. And I was based out of India, Hyderabad team. So we'll talk about it later. So thank you so much for your introduction. Quickly, can you walk us about the and don't disclose more details, but yeah, about the
Sure.
topic of your workshop.
Absolutely. So essentially, it's all around patient centricity. And I think that's a keyword that a lot of my peers in life sciences are really after. Often it's talked about, but is it practiced? Often I'm not quite sure. So what we're going to try to do together with Patients Know Best, which is an EHR provider, we're trying to zoom in of how data can enhance patient choice and patient experience. And that's what we're going to do in that hour together.
Okay, nice. So let's dive into a bit of a sneak peek and talk about. So, in your personal view, what do you understand or what do you mean by patient centricity?
So patient centricity has to do with patient experience and patient choice. So in Europe, where there's of course the regulations are there for, as unlike in the US, where patients can't really pick and choose what kind of treatment they want. In Europe, it's more about patient voice. So making sure that patients are heard in the development, and in the spread of innovative medicines, that their problems and their desires are baked into everything. And often, and I mentioned this before, Himanshu, the people are talking about it, but is it really practiced? So what we want to bring close to people in that workshop is actually the thinking of how you can get there, how you can get to a patient-centric mindset, and how data can be used to offer choice to patients and include them also, crucially, for example, in clinical trials.
How do you think that the data which is which could be RWE, which could be patient-related outcomes, so these kind of data points and data structures, how can they help bring in more, so to speak, patient centricity or involve more patients within the pharma
Yep.
industry?
I give you a clear example. So one has to do with a lot of people will know this terminology. I worked in it with launch excellence.
Mhm.
So when brand launches are planned about a year before they get marketing or market authorization, teams get together and plan this. What we often see is what we call the professional patient, right? So people that build part of advisory groups.
Mhm.
Usually it's the same patients, and the insight is extremely limited. But we live in a time of vast availability of data. So why don't we use that to actually create those insights that then inform the launch? For example, comorbidities, adverse events, localities of certain patient groups, minorities, which in many countries are actually, or regions, in England in particular, are actually the majority, underserved people that have your skin color, not mine, right? So that whole topic is really important, addressing health inequalities, and it is often a lip service, as I said before, and I'm not going to want to peddle this too much, but people like to say it, but do they really do it? So if we start tapping into, for example, electronic health records, check comorbidities, check these things I mentioned before, in the launch planning, where to first get a drug out and a medicine out, market access planning, the patient voice can be inherently baked in without creating these massive or these patient advisory groups.
Okay. So, with this, with companies adopting to data, which could be, as I said, RWE, PRO, or whatnot,
Yep.
clinical data and all. Where do you, I mean, this is the last question. Where do you see, as an overall industry, where do you see the future of pharma or healthcare going? What else would you think is going to be the future basically in next, let's say, short-term future with, let's say, 2-3 years down the line, and then a long-term future, maybe like 5 years down the line?
So funnily enough, I had the same question. I'm asking me somebody yesterday from the New Scientist, which is a publication. So, and it's that like, it's not a crystal ball, because crystal balls are 5 to 10 years, right? We're going to want to know what's happening, and where should I look at? So there's a couple of things here. Towards the end of the decade, which is close, we'll see, as you know, a proper drop off of assets, right? So a lot of LOEs. And that, of course, is a massive challenge for the industry. So, and a lot of large pharma companies, one of which I worked in, I always say Blue Pill, sits on a large amount of cash. So the question, we're going to see lots of mergers and acquisitions in the next 2 to 3 years, a huge amount, because that cash has to go somewhere. It needs to work. So that's one. I'm so hesitant, Himanshu, to say generative AI, because people are gonna. I mean, look, I give you an anecdote really quickly. Okay, I spoke to somebody from GSK R&D a few months ago, and I said to him, look, if I have a generative AI company that is developing new molecules and wants to work with GSK, how would you go about this? And he told me, look, we wouldn't want to work with you. And he said, why? He said, look, the IP is the problem. It sits with the startup. It doesn't sit with GSK. So and other pharma companies are available. The only way to do this is an acquisition. That's the only way to eat up the IP. And ultimately, that's where the generative AI companies are after, right? They want to be acquired by large pharma. Done. So I do see a future in that, in terms of that algorithms can help us to develop new models of care and go with digital twins, actually then testing them virtually. So I think that is not too far away at all. The practicability always is in the IP. Who owns it? Who pays for it? Who makes money with it? Sure. And that, if somebody opens up a company that solves that problem, you're a billionaire.
Awesome. So that's a great piece of information. So what we are going to see as a trend is that a lot of merger and acquisitions, a lot of deals happening in next 2-3 years down the line, and generative AI is going to be a little bit on the background of all of them. Data companies being in the background of all of them, and
right.
And
I mean,
obviously,
look, if
patient
I
centricity.
like the one piece, just to put that quickly in, it's of course population health monitoring, right? So, and it's called ambient technology. So a lot of people wear smartwatches now, and other devices are available. You can even measure your blood pressure with your phone these days, right? Yeah. So that technology will lead to a more and more capturing of people that have health problems and help us with prevention agenda. But the main problem is obesity. the main problem is the massive flooding of GLP-1s rather than looking at other prevention measures. So that is, if you talk about opportunity, that is a challenge at the same time.
Got it. No, thank you for that, and I'm looking forward to attending your workshop for sure, and would urge other people who are coming at Reuters Pharma 2025 in Barcelona. Please do attend Konrad's workshop. It is going to be very
Absolutely.
insightful, as you all have heard from him directly. So thank you so much for your time, Konrad, and it was lovely talking to you. I look forward to seeing you in Barcelona.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.